Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the MCCI Ladies Forum, I extend my cordial wishes to all of you on International Women's Day. The MCCI Ladies Forum was launched on 14th August 2012 with the objective to address and discuss all women related social issues and represent them to concerned government departments, technical agencies, national and international organizations. The MLF passionately promotes the cause of women empowerment and gender equality and also initiates vocational and self development programs through workshops. We gather today to celebrate the spirit of womanhood on a day recognized internationally to acknowledge women for their achievements, irrespective of national, ethnic, linguistic, cultural, economic, and political identities. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity. Today, it is my honor to offer a warm welcome to you all in a special e session today on the importance of spirituality in the contemporary world with Sadhvi ji Bhagawati Saraswati. Sadhvi ji is originally from Los Angeles, California, and a graduate from Stanford University. She left America in 1996 and shifted base to Parmarth Niketan Ashram in 1996. Sadhvi ji has served as a vice chair for the United Nations Faith Advisory Council on Religion and presently serves as the Secretary General of the Global Interfaith Wash Alliance, as President of Divine Shakti Foundation, and is also the Director of the International Yoga Festival. She has a PhD in psychology and was the managing editor for the monumental project of the 11-volume Encyclopedia of Hinduism. We are extremely thankful to Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati ji for kindly accepting our invitation in spite of her busy schedule. With these words, Sadhvi ji, I would now request you to share some thoughts on the topic.
It's such a joy to be with you all on this day. And what a beautiful day to celebrate. We celebrate on this day that power of the divine feminine, that power of Shakti, that power of the mother goddess that flows through all of us. And this is the day that we actually come together within ourselves and together as a community and celebrate this power. And it's so important to celebrate it within each woman, for every woman to actually understand, in me is that divine energy. In me is the creative energy. In me is Shakti. As women, so sadly, we are so frequently really hard on ourselves. And so many of our inner voices are always telling us that we're not enough. We're not smart enough or beautiful enough or intelligent enough or good enough or young enough or old enough. There's always something that our inner voice is telling us isn't quite enough. And this is where it's so important on this day to remember and to re-emphasize within us is that mother goddess. Within us is that Shakti. Think about it. When we talk about the divine, when we talk about God, we speak about Lord Brahma as the creator and Lord Vishnu as the sustainer and Lord Shiva as the dissolver. But here on earth, here in the embodied world, who did God choose to do that work of creation? In whom did Lord Brahma put that power of creation? Women. In our bodies, we have that beautiful ability to create. And that's not a small thing. Most women take that really for granted. Yes, we have children. But if you think about it deeply and spiritually, you realize that actually the divine has very specifically chosen women as the ones to embody that power of creation. And that is not a small feat. That is huge. So on this day, it is so important for us to remember. It doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. It doesn't matter what the size of your body is. It doesn't matter whether you've got a few extra pounds that you'd like to lose, whether there's some extra pounds that you'd like to gain, whether your skin tone seems too dark in this culture, too fair in other cultures, whether you don't think that you've got as nice of a sari or jewelry as the other people you're at the wedding with or at the party with or at the function with, whatever it may be that your mind is telling you you're lacking. In response to that true anubhav is the anubhav of the awareness that within me is the divine. I am full, I am whole, I am complete. More than that, I am divine. The mother goddess lives in me. And so this is the day that we celebrate that Shakti, but it's also the day that we celebrate the Shakti within ourselves. And as women, it's so important that we experience it within ourselves, but also that as a community, we create that space and hold the space for other women to also experience it. जब हम केवल अपनी साड़ियों के बारे में बात करते हैं या skin tone के बारे में बात करते हैं या weight के बारे में बात करते हैं, and we do it, we say, oh wow, you've lost so much weight, बहुत ही सुंदर लग रही हो, या oh बहुत अच्छा, थोड़ा सा weight gain किया, पहले बहुत ज्यादा पतली लग रही, अब बहुत बढ़िया लग रही हो, या we say, अच्छा कितना सुंदर साड़ी वो कहाँ खरीद लिया. When we say these things, and there's nothing bad about them, but it's just important, spirituality means consciousness. It means that whatever I do it in awareness. And I do it with my ultimate goal in mind. And if my ultimate goal is to realize I am the soul, I am spirit, I am divinity, then constantly emphasizing the color of my skin or the size of my waist or the clothes that I'm wearing or the money in my bank account is just a constant reinforcement against where I'm trying to go. So as women, we need to come together as a community and to create space for each other as divine, as soul, and stop just reinforcing this external sense of the idea that a woman is just her body. Because not only is that horribly damaging for us as women, but it's also horribly damaging for society. The violence that takes place against women takes place because there is this kind of agreed upon idea that women are just objects. We're objects that have a certain color, that have a certain shape, have a certain style, and objects to be used and abused and discarded. And this is where you get violence. It's where you get rape. It's also where we get so much gender inequality in our societies. Because as women, we are not embodying with full awareness that divine feminine within ourselves. So on this day, I'm so glad to be able to be with you and to remind you, because you know it already, deep within you, you know it. You know you're not the body. You know you are soul, spirit, divinity, infinity, love. but you just need to be reminded of it. So let that be our commitment. And as we're talking about this beautiful topic of spirituality in contemporary times, well, spirituality doesn't change. There's not spirituality in olden times and spirituality in modern times and spirituality in future times. Spirituality stays the same because spirituality is connecting to spirit. Spirituality is saying, I am going to dedicate my life, dedicate my awareness, dedicate my practice to knowing that who I am is spirit, that who I am is consciousness, is soul. That's what spirituality is. A commitment to seeing the world, seeing yourself and seeing others as spirit. Most of us live as a materialist view. We see ourselves as matter, this size, this shape, this color, this age, this particular model. Like I happen to be the 1971 American model version. It's where I was born. It's where this body was manufactured when it was manufactured. But that's not who I am. You might be driving a 2019 Honda, but you are not a 2019 Honda. That's just the car you drive. In the same way, I've got this 1971 model vehicle, but it isn't who I am. And that's what spirituality has been telling us forever. It's what our scriptures have given us thousands and thousands of years ago. Because even without Facebook, even without social media, even without the busyness of today's world, even without that, thousands and thousands of years ago, people thought they were the body. This ignorance has actually stayed the same. The monkey mind has stayed the same. So the teachings of spirituality, the core of spirituality, is just as applicable today as it ever was before. Because the reason we are put here on earth, our core dharma, our core purpose, is not about becoming a perfect size 0 or size 2 or size 6 or whatever size we want to be. It's not about looking perfect. It's not about having the perfect children who dress in the perfect way and go to the perfect school and make us look perfect to the neighbors. It's not about having the perfect job, perfect career, getting the perfect salary. It's none of that. The reason we are here is to experience and to know deeply the truth of who we are as divine, and then to manifest that in the world, to experience divinity, to experience soul, spirit, consciousness, pure love, truth, and then to manifest that and share that in the world. That is why we're here. And so the teachings of spirituality are just as applicable today as they always have been. One of my favorite stories, it's a joke actually, is a story of the man who goes to the doctor. And he says to the doctor, there is something very wrong with me. Whatever I touch, it hurts. When I touch my head, it hurts. I touch my back, it hurts. I touch my stomach, it hurts. So the doctor runs every test, every scan, and he finally calls the man in and he says, well, the good news is there is nothing wrong. with your back or your stomach or your head. The bad news is your finger is broken. And because your finger is broken, whatever you touch, it hurts. But not because the problem is outside, in the back, in the stomach, in the head, but because the problem is in the broken finger. और ठीक इसी तरह से our lives hurt. लेकिन हम family members के ऊपर blame लगाते हैं, अपने बच्चों के ऊपर, अपने parents के ऊपर, अपने in-laws के ऊपर blame लगाते हैं कि अगर तुम मेरे से ठीक से बात करते होते तो फिर I would be happy. If you just spoke to me nicely, if you spoke to me with love, if you did what I want, if you cleaned your room, if you helped with the dishes, if you brought me flowers, if you were loving and respectful, if you came home on time, then I would be happy. Then I would be peaceful. तो हम दूसरों चीजों के ऊपर blame लगाते हैं अपनी अशांति के लिए. Yeah, we blame traffic on the freeway, mortgage rates, interest rates, stock market crashing, the economy. इतनी चीजों के ऊपर हम blame लगाते हैं अपना स्वयं का अशांति के लिए. But the truth is that ashanti, that lack of peace, is not due to the in-laws or the children or somebody not being on time or a messy room or doing the dishes every night. That ashanti is due to the connection being broken. जैसे जब उंगली टूट गई तो naturally जहां हाथ लगाओगे तो दर्द होगा. अगर उंगली टूटा हुआ है तो जहां मैं लगाओगे, जहां मैं लगाऊंगी तो मुझको दर्द होगा. ठीक इसी तरह से जब मेरा भगवान से, मेरा स्वयं से connection टूट गई, when that connection is broken within myself, my life hurts. जहां जहां मैं जाऊंगी, जिससे मैं बात करूंगी, जो भी होगा, my life will hurt because that connection is broken. So spirituality reconnects us. It reunites us with the truth of ourselves. नहीं तो lives hurt. We move through the world with depression, anxiety, stress. आजकल सब कुछ achieve करने के बाद, प्राप्त करने के बाद, फिर भी मन में अशांति है, दिल में अशांति है. सब कुछ होने के बाद भी we have everything. और आजकल जो अपने पास नहीं है, Amazon इसको 2 दिन के अंदर deliver करने के लिए तैयार है, तो मिल जाएगा. Whatever we want, except peace, because that only comes from the inside, and it only comes when that connection is together, when we are reconnected back with the truth of who we are and reconnected with the divine. यही योग है. योग का मतलब क्या है? Union. The word yog literally means to unite, jodna, union. But union of what? Not just of our nose to our knees, but union of ourselves to the divine. आजकल परमार्थ निकेतन में हमारे International Yoga Festival चल रहा है. Physically, no, it's online this year, जैसे सब कुछ online है. But online भी हमारे पूरा विश्व, global परिवार जोड़ रहे हैं to learn yoga online, to be connected. But it's not just about physical asanas. It's about that inner connection. Because what we're seeing these days all over the world, मैं अभी 2 महीने के लिए अमेरिका में थी, अभी भी 3-4 दिन पहले मैं वापस लौट के आई, और COVID को छोड़ दीजिएगा 2 मिनट के लिए, because this was true even before COVID. लोग stressed हैं, लोग यहाँ भी stressed हैं, वहाँ भी stressed हैं. But I mention America because sadly so many people America जाने का सपना ले रहे हैं. If I could just go to America, just go abroad, then I would be happy. Then सब कुछ set हो जाएगा मेरे लिए. But वहाँ से मैं अभी होके आ रही हूँ. और सब कुछ प्राप्त करने के बाद स्थिति क्या है? In most cases, depression, anxiety, sleeplessness, stress. सभी गोली खा रहे हैं डिप्रेशन को दूर करना, नींद लाने के लिए, एंजाइटी को दूर करना. तो सोचो क्या अचीव किया हमने. We've got big houses, big bungalows, beautiful cars, beautiful clothes, सब कुछ. लेकिन नींद लाने के लिए गोली खानी पड़ती. फायदा क्या? डिप्रेशन को दूर करने के लिए गोली खानी पड़ती. So this is where spirituality brings us back to our roots. Mahatma Gandhi said so beautifully, what is the point of running so fast when you're running in the wrong direction? और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हम लोग wrong direction में जा रहे हैं. Just to achieve more and more, acquire more and more, get higher and higher on these ladders, career ladder, social ladder. I should be invited to every party. सबको मेरा तरफ थोड़ा सा jealousy के रूप से देखना चाहिए. सभी मेरे को envy करना चाहिए. People should want to be like me, wish they could be like me. And we've lost so much in that. That's the wrong direction. तो अध्यात्मता हमको right direction पे, सही रास्ता पे दिखा देते हैं, and it puts us on it. It puts us right on it. और stress किस चीज से होता है? Usually stress has become this global epidemic wherever you go. और सबको लगने लगा कि it's natural, it's normal. Yeah, सबको होता है stress. And that is a very big tragedy. Because stress is the #1 cause of most illnesses we face today. The illnesses that killed us 100 years ago, जो मच्छर से हैं, या गंदी पानी से, या food that's not clean, most of those we've eradicated. In so many cases, our water has gotten clean, मच्छर को दूर किया. Not 100% of course, but we've had great success. Polio ko eradicate kiya, smallpox ko eradicate kiya, measles ko eradicate kiya. What are we dying of these days? We're dying of illnesses that have been either created by stress or that have been severely exacerbated, made much worse because of stress. And why do we have stress? Because we are so stuck thinking that we are this body, thinking that I am the color of my skin, that I am my weight, that I am my bank account. So when I think that I am those things, or that I am my position on a social ladder or career ladder, I am my title, then we have misery, क्योंकि फिर हम हमेशा compare कर रहे हैं. उसको इतना मिल रहा है, मेरे को इतना क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है? मैं उससे 10 गुना स्मार्ट हूँ, या मैं 10 गुना से ज्यादा काम कर रही हूँ यहाँ इसी कंपनी में. Why she got the promotion? Why didn't I get it? फिर हम हमेशा compare कर रहे हैं. And amazingly, we only compare ourselves with people who have more than we do. हम कभी नहीं कहते हैं कि वाह मैं उससे बहुत लकी हूँ, वाह उससे मैं बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गई, आगे बढ़ गए, वाह मेरा सैलरी उससे बहुत ज्यादा है. हम कभी ऐसे नहीं सोचते. हम हमेशा किससे कंपेयर करते हैं? जिनके पास ज्यादा है. और देखो, मैं आपको बताना चाह रही हूँ कि Hamesha. It doesn't matter where you reach, what you achieve, there will always be someone who is more beautiful, more smart, more popular, more successful. It's the nature of life. But if in our minds, these are the things that cause us stress, constant comparing, constant judging, constant complaining, because then of course हम दूसरों के ऊपर project करते हैं. You are the reason. You are the reason that I'm miserable. You are the reason I'm not in peace. It's your fault. If you just made more money, then we could have a better house, a better car. Our children could go to a better school. If you just acted differently, spoke differently, lived differently, then everything would be better. तो वो stress जो हमारे भीतर में है, हम दूसरों के ऊपर डाल देते हैं. We have become very contagious. And this is where now in families, fighting has become such an epidemic because we're constantly blaming each other. We are disappointed. We are always wanting more and more and more and more. It is the nature of the mind to want more and more. इसलिए ना हम कहते हैं मन मांगे more. ये केवल एक स्लोगन नहीं है. ये जीवन का सच्चाई है, जीवन का सूत्र है. मन क्या करते हैं? मांगे more. ये मन का काम है. That is what the mind does. It will never be satisfied. So what you need to do is make a decision. Instead of focusing on comparison, on judgment, on grumbling, on complaining, focus on gratitude. Every morning when you wake up, every single day, बिस्तर से उठने से पहले, think of at least 5 things you are very grateful for. They don't have to be big. They can be big, but they don't have to be. आपकी नल से पानी आता है. Be thankful. आपकी फ्रिज में थोड़ा सा खाना है. Be thankful. आपकी बिस्तर में या आपके घर में या आपके neighborhood में कोई है जो आपको प्यार करता है. Be thankful. If you've got water coming out of your tap, if you've got electricity, food in your fridge, even one person who loves you, whether in your bed, in your house, in your neighborhood, you have more than so many people. Do your eyes work? Do your legs work? Do your hands work? Are you free from illness and disease? If so, be thankful. You are so much more lucky, fortunate than the vast majority of people in the world. Do you have 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees that you could spend bina soch ke? Spending lakhs and lakhs of rupees, naturally सोचते हम लोग. लेकिन क्या आपके पास 500 या 1000 रुपया जो बिना सोच के आप खर्च कर सकते हैं? If so, be thankful. You are better off than about 99% of the population of the world. So every day when you wake up, 5 things to be thankful for. And every night before you go to sleep, 5 things that you are thankful for from that day. It could be a person who was with you. It could be something somebody said. It could be something that happened. It could be the fact that you were going to get angry, but you didn't get angry. It could be the fact that you remembered to meditate. It could be the fact that for just a few moments, you experienced deep peace. That presence of the divine within the self. So live in gratitude and live in love. और सचमुच anyway ये माँ का धर्म है. माँ जो है संस्कार भी देती है, प्यार भी देती है, और हम वो भी दे सकते हैं only जो हमारे पास है. We can only give what we have. So when we give love, it's because we are love. And when we connect with the love within ourselves, then it connects with the truth of who we are. And I know आप सब अभी पूछने जाएंगे, अच्छा how can we be in love अगर सामने वाले हमको अच्छी तरह से treat नहीं करते, ठीक से बात नहीं करते हैं. I don't mean you must love what they say. I don't mean you must love this action. But regardless of what is happening in the world around you, you have the power to choose love in that moment. You do not have to be angry. You do not have to be depressed. सामने वाला ने कुछ कहा होगा या किया होगा, ठीक है, that's their karmic package. But what is your karmic package? Your karma gets fulfilled in the most beautiful way so that you really can attain moksha, attain freedom, attain liberation, only when we are not reacting to the world around us. उसने कुछ बोला तो मुझे बोलना है क्या? उसने थप्पड़ मारा तो मुझे थप्पड़ मारना है क्या? नहीं. उन्होंने जो किया होगा या जो कहा होगा, उनकी karmic package की वजह से किया. But our karma and our dharma is to choose love every minute, every moment, because who you are is love. So find that within yourself. Experience that within yourself, and that practice of gratitude is a very beautiful way to find and experience and connect with love within you. And whoever you love, focus on that. Bring their face up in your mind's eye and feel that love within you. And then try to expand it, that it's not just mera bacha, ya mera bachi, ya mera maa, mera baap, mera patni, mera pati. But can you extend that love out to all? Not even because you necessarily know them, but because love is who you are. And naturally you just manifest it wherever you go. And that is the most beautiful core component of spirituality, is to know who you are, which is love and is truth and is peace and is expansion. So every minute and every moment, let your mantra be, I choose love. I choose peace. Now, you may be in a fight. The other person might be wrong. और हमको लगता है कि मुझे तो दिखाना है उनको, मुझे तो बताना है, मुझे समझाना है. No. आपको peaceful होना है. आपको loving होना है. At least within yourself. If not to the other person, at least within yourself. Because every time you react in anger, you are manufacturing anger within yourself. And that's toxic. That's poison. So you don't want to do that. Who you are is divine. Remember, that's where we started. So that mother goddess within you, that divine within you, उनको अच्छी तरह से संभाल के रखो, अच्छी तरह से सम्मान दो, जैसे मंदिर है. How we behave in a mandir. Well, when the divine lives within you, your life is a mandir. Treat it like that. Treat it with love. not कि जो सामने वाला थोड़ा सा पागल हो के नहीं कुछ किया तो मेरा शांति चले जाते. No one has the power to steal your peace. No one has the power to take your dharma of being love away from you. मैं complete करूंगी एक छोटी सी कहानी के साथ, and then we'll take questions. The कहानी उसके बारे में है. There was a saint, and the saint was bathing in the river. And as the saint bathed in the river, he noticed a scorpion, and the scorpion was drowning. So the saint picks up the scorpion to put it on the shore safely. Lekin scorpion ne kya kiya? Stung the man. So जैसे scorpion stung him, the man flings his hand, बहुत दर्द हो रहा है, flings it. Scorpion falls back in the water. फिर दोबारा कोशिश की उसको बचाना. And again, the scorpion stung him. And again, the man flung his hands. And the scorpion fell back in the water. Again, he tried to save it. Again, it stung him. So ye natak kept going on and on, this drama. और एक आदमी शोर पे बैठ रहे हैं. वो बोले, बाबा जी, आप कर क्या रहे हैं? डूबने तो दो. Let it drown. Hard, it just is going to sting you. Why are you doing this? So Sant bola, scorpion stings me because to sting is its dharma. I save it because to save is my dharma. अगर स्कॉर्पियन उसका धर्म को छोड़ने के लिए तैयार नहीं है, तो मैं अपने धर्म को क्यों छोड़ दूं? Why I should leave my dharma if the scorpion's not leaving his? ठीक इसी तरह से, my beautiful, beloved sisters, your dharma is to be that embodiment of the divine creative energy, that divine goddess. Doesn't mean you're a doormat. Doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. Kali Ma ko dekho. Inki Shakti. Ma Durga ko dekho. So it doesn't mean we become doormats, but we understand ki mere bhitar, the mother goddess is there. So I need to connect with that, know that, and live in love, in peace, in truth, to feel that Shakti. And once I feel it, for दूसरों की life में, I can feel it. I can give it to others. I can share it with others. But सबसे पहले मुझे उसकी feel करना, उसकी अनुभव करना है. So that is what we have our very beautiful spiritual practices for. अब I know कि काफी सारे लोगों का questions है, तो मैं यहाँ पे समाप्त हो जाऊंगी, and then we'll take whatever questions you have.
Sadhvi, firstly, I must tell you, I mean, I could just keep listening. You know, where you're sitting and the sound of the birds chirping and the peace on your face is really, I mean, I have not been able to, look at any other distraction, and I thank you for that. There's one question in the audience before I move to others. Ayanji asks, please throw some light on Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
Oh. So the Bhagavad Gita is this powerhouse of wisdom, of truth. And it's just as applicable today as it was thousands and thousands of years ago on the battleground of Kurukshetra. Gita जो है, हमको इतनी सिखाते हैं, इतनी संदेश देते हैं. 700 mantras में, 700 verses में. It's a universe of wisdom. And it's also applicable for all. Bhagavad Gita केवल Indians के लिए नहीं है, केवल हिंदुओं के लिए नहीं है. Bhagavad Gita सबके लिए है. Now, मैं 2-3 मिनट में इसके बारे में तो I can't do justice to it. But इतना मैं अभी कह सकूंगी that the Gita gives us the answers to whatever problems face our lives. And today we face so much. मैं stress के बारे में बात कर रही थी, tension, fear. And one of the core messages of the Gita, abhayam, fearlessness to stand up. Do your duty, fulfill your dharma. क्या है, हम थोड़ा सा mentally lazy हो गया. हमको लगता है कि जो मुझे enjoy करता है, जिससे मेरे को मजा आता है, जो मैं अपनी free time में कर सकूं, I'm ready to do that. जो really hard work. In many ways, slowly in society, we're starting to lose that. क्या है, social media पे we see pictures of everybody sitting on beaches, sitting in vacation, चाय पी रहे हैं, cappuccino पी रहे हैं, मजा ले रहे हैं. तो सबको लगने लगा कि अच्छे इसी तरह से जीना है. मैं भी ऐसे जीने लगूं. But Bhagavad Gita reminds us, life is not about take a vacation from life. Life is about how living, fulfilling your duty, fulfilling your dharma with full courage, full commitment, every minute can actually feel like a vacation. Why? क्योंकि मैंने समर्पित किया. जब मैं अपने लिए काम कर रही हूँ, अपने लिए कुछ कर रही हूँ, तो फिर then there's stress, there's tension, क्योंकि लगता है कि मुझे खूब सारे पैसा कमाना, मुझे अचीव करना, मुझे आगे बढ़ना. लेकिन भगवान कृष्ण हमको बहुत क्लियरली बताते हैं, give me everything, सब कुछ, give it to me, surrender to me. Whatever you do, surrender it to me. And it teaches us how to live. And it also reminds us to be fearless in that. कि it's not सामने वाले क्या कहेगा, पड़ोसी क्या सोचेंगे. It's my inner knowing. That's what's most important. To follow that. So many of us lose our lives in wondering, सामने वाले क्या सोचेगा, पड़ोसी क्या कहेगा. Bhagavad Gita हमको सिखाते हैं, your duty, your dharma, that is what's most important. And to stand up and fulfill that. And it may not be fun. Arjun को मजा नहीं ले रहे. It was very difficult, miserable in fact, but it was his dharma to fulfill that. And this is where, for all of us, we must ask ourselves, how can I be a tool in the hands of God? How can I be an instrument in God's hands? And then allow that divine to flow through us. So गीता के बारे में बहुत सारे चीज है कहने का. I've given actually entire lectures on it, जो आधा घंटे, पौने घंटे, 1 घंटे. So you can find those on my website, on YouTube, on Facebook. They're all there. Maybe we can do another session also sometime, just Bhagavad Gita ki upar. We can talk about the different shlokas, the meanings of them, the message of them. But for now, Taki, we have time to take other questions.
Yes.
I'll end this one here.
Sadhviji, how can we discriminate between love and delusion? Which is real?
Between love and?
Delusion.
Delusion. देखो, दिल को पता है. We do know. It is not so easy to fool the heart. The heart really knows. क्या है मन में? Desires बढ़ता है. मन में attachment. मन में fantasies. And especially because of what we see also so much on our TV serials and movies, commercials. Love and romance have been very commercialized. And we now have this picture of what it should be like. And so we try to create that in our lives. I should have this beautiful Prince Charming, and he'll come on this horse and he'll sweep me away, and everything will be perfect. He'll hold my face in his hands and he'll recite poetry to me, right? We've got this very kind of romanticized version of it. And of course, that which we watch on TV and on movies just perpetuates that. The different roles, the different ways of what romance should be like. So in our lives, we try to create it. But of course, all of those are fantasy. They're made up. Some script writer just wrote that story, but we forget that. So when love is there, you know it is there. But in order for love to really take root, to really take hold in your life, you actually have to be prepared to let go of the delusions, to let go of the fantasy, to let go of this idea of what it's going to be, and to realize that the most important thing in love is that experience of expansion, that experience of with that person, I feel that I am able to connect with soul, spirit, consciousness, that in that person's eyes, I see not a sexy me, but an expanded spiritual me. That in that person's eyes, I can see my soul. That when I look at them, I'm not seeing somebody with lust who just loves my body, that makes me feel good because it makes me feel beautiful. But in their eyes, I'm seeing my own soul. I'm seeing the possibility of touching the truth of who I am. And as I said, our heart knows, but we just have to have the courage in our mind to let go of the delusion and to say, I realize this was a fantasy, this was a delusion, this is not going to work. And to allow myself to actually feel real love.
The next question is from Mansi.
Spirituality is very close to my heart, and I've been meditating myself for more than 25 years now.
Wonderful.
And there's a personal question I would like to ask you. It's okay if you don't want to answer it, but I just want to know one thing, that nowhere in our scripts is it written, but do you feel Vairagya would give you a better spiritual path?
Beautiful question. Of course, I'm happy to answer. So, जब हम वैराग्य के बारे में बात करते हैं, it's very important to understand also what vairagya is. First, I'm going to talk to what I think you're asking, and then we'll talk about vairagya. So, मैं तो सन्यासी हूँ, celibate हूँ, renounced हूँ. मैंने वो सारी चीज छोड़ दिया इसी लाइफ के लिए. Is it easier? On some level, yes, because there's a lot fewer distractions. There's a lot fewer pulls. But that's only for people where it's really their dharma to live that life of renunciation. For me, मुझे मालूम था शुरू से जैसे मैं आई यहाँ Jaise Ganga ji ki darshan ki. I knew this is where I'm meant to live. And all of my desires, it was like God came through me with a chota sa vacuum cleaner. And literally, sare desires, chahe sensual desires, physical desires, chahe desires for things like bagels or avocado or things jo India mein nahi mila. Any desire that I had for anything that was not going to be part of my spiritual path living here in this ashram, it really felt like God just took this vacuum cleaner and kind of went through me and removed me. And mujhe malum tha ki this is my dhan. But nowhere in the scriptures, you are right, nowhere is it written that. And in fact, most of the sages, the rishis, even the divine manifestations, actually were householders. And I think that there's a reason for that. And I think it's to show us कि ऐसे नहीं है कि सब कुछ छोड़ना है. बल्कि, going back to the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun ne kaha Krishna कि छोड़ो सब कुछ. I'm just going to go and live in a cave, meditate, I'll become a sadhu. And Bhagwan Krishna says, not so fast. ये तुम्हारा धर्म नहीं है. So we have to understand, and this is where our own inner guidance and inner wisdom knows. This is the right path for me, the path of renunciation, or it's not. लेकिन ऐसे मत सोचो कि गृहस्थ आश्रम में you can't become awakened or enlightened. You can. But rather than trying to push away the family, can you use the family? Can you use your role in the family as a way to get closer to God? Can you try to see God in the face of your husband, your children, your in-laws? So it's not कि आप दूर हो जाओ, तुम लोग दूर हो जाओ, सब everybody will leave me alone क्योंकि मुझे spiritual practice करना. It's how can I अपनी घर की सेवा करते हुए, घर की roles को fulfill करते हुए, how can I find inner freedom? Realizing I have this role as wife, role as mother, role as in-law, but it's not who I am. Who I am is soul, is spirit, is divinity, is the mother goddess. Yes, at this intersection of time and space, I am playing the role of this one's wife, this one's mother, this one's daughter, this one's daughter-in-law, this one's sister-in-law. But it isn't who I am. And a family life gives us so many beautiful opportunities to keep remembering that and to keep choosing love and choosing peace. So yes, in some ways, the renunciant path is easier, but not always. Because if those desires are still there, you're going to be here in robes, but having sapna of being in a relationship. And there's no use in that.
True.
And so the other piece, lastly, I wanted to just share is I think we misunderstand the concept of vairagya also a lot. Vairagya is not pushing the world away. And, you know, when I first came to India, I was very confused by this because I knew that there's this great emphasis on vairagya, on detachment, on moving away from. And yet, the most enlightened beings I met, my guru, Puja Swamiji, other enlightened saints, they were so connected. Every minute of their day was spent in seva. Seva for the poor, seva for the needy. Deeply connected, deeply caring. So mujhe laga ki agar vairagya is this high virtue, disconnection, detachment, Why are these most enlightened beings so deeply connected? And yet, in that connection, they are so awake, so united with God. And it was just living as a curiosity in my mind for some time. And then I heard, actually, in a katha, this teaching about Vairagya. Now, it turns out that in our scriptures, these virtues are actually personified. So bhakti was actually a being. And bhakti gave birth to Gyan and Vairagya. Now, when I heard that, suddenly I went, oh, and like in that moment, it made perfect sense. Because when we think of Vairagya, we think of this dry, detached, disconnected, aloofness. But bhakti is juicy, juicy devotion. Itni ras hai bhakti mein. तो ये कैसे हो सकता है कि rus-filled bhakti gives birth to dry vairagya? हो नहीं सकता. So what I realized was vairagya actually is not detachment. It is reattachment. Meaning, in order to get vairagya, you need bhakti. Beta ke liye maa to chahiye, bina maa beta ho nahi sakta hai. तो पहले भक्ति से शुरू करो. Love God, be devoted to God in a juicy way, love-filled way. And what happens when you are is automatically your attachment to things in this world, it dissipates. And then vairagya apne aap ho jata hai. You don't have to create it. You don't have to push away possessions or people, attachments, situations. अपने आप interest खत्म हो जाता है. अपने आप allure खत्म हो जाता है. Because you are immersed in bhakti. So rather than trying to think about creating ek bacha bina maa, think about wo maa kaise create kare. Bhakti. And then vairagya apne aap aa jayega. Chahe aap gard mein ho, family mein ho, chahe aap ashram mein. Sannyas lene ke baad. Sannyas doesn't mean that automatically you get an infusion of bhakti. We still have to do our sadhana, do the practice. Otherwise, as I was saying, you're here in robes, but you're miserable. So it's not about the place. It's not about the color of kapre we're wearing. It's about the setting of the mind. So fill that mind and that heart with bhakti. Reattach yourself to God. And then automatically that vairagya will happen.
Beautifully explained.
Really beautiful. Sadhvi, do we have time for one last question?
Sure, let's take one more.
Okay, so we have a audience question again. Do you believe in the term rebirth? What are your thoughts?
So for me, rebirth is more of a science than something I have to believe in. Do I believe in it? Yes, of course. But it's not just faith. It's actually, we have lots of evidence. And you don't need me to give it to you. Just go online, Google. There's so many books and articles in which young children have memories of past births, of where they were. And they're able to tell you things and show you things that would be absolutely impossible otherwise. So in order to know that reincarnation and rebirth happens, we don't have to rely on faith. We don't even have to rely on believing people who say they remember past lives, because we have people who actually have proven that they remember the past life by giving us details that otherwise there's no way they could have known. So we know that it happens. But also, Shastra में भी ऐसे लिखा हुआ है. और अगर हम शास्त्र को मानने वाले लोग, so naturally when Shastras tell us this, it is something that we take in and believe. And for me, the reason that I love the belief also is, it makes a lot of sense to me. I've always had a very deep belief in what I would call the capital P planner, the divine. But long before I had a deep personal relationship with God, I always believed in this capital P planner. There must be some plan, some meaning, some reason, some purpose. And if there is no rebirth, then जीवन का कोई मतलब नहीं. Then it's just we come, we enjoy, we help each other as much as we can, we share as much love as we can, and then it's over. But that's not much of a matlab. Matlab comes when you start to look at it as a bigger picture. How we carry things into this life from past lives. Otherwise, it's random. Why different people are born in different situations, different ways. अगर हम कर्म के बारे में believe नहीं करते, because if you don't believe in rebirth, it means you can't believe in karma. So if we remove rebirth, we remove karma, then everything is random. And nothing moves forward. So for me, absolutely, I believe in it. There's, as I said, a lot of evidence here in this world. The scriptures tell us. And it makes everything else make sense. It makes the law of karma make sense. It makes all of the sadhana we do make sense. नहीं तो अगर आप इसी life में मोक्ष तक नहीं पहुंचेंगे, and there is no next birth, तो फिर सब कुछ मतलब failure हो गया. फायदा क्या हुआ? By knowing that I have my next birth, जहां तक मैं पहुंच सकूंगी मैं जरूर पहुंच जाऊंगी. और मोक्ष तो मिल सकता है, बिल्कुल मिल सकता है, सभी को मिल सकता है. Lekin by chance, if I'm a little too attached to my ego, a little too attached to my ignorance, a little too attached to my own inner story and drama, for that moksha, कोई बात नहीं. Universe is very patient. It'll give me another birth to do it all over again. Think about it. If a teacher is compassionate enough to let a child redo 5th grade because he didn't learn long division or something else that he has to learn to go on to 6th grade, wouldn't God be that compassionate enough to give us another try, another opportunity to keep going till we get it? तो मैं ऐसे मानती हूँ कि definitely we have unlimited opportunities.
Beautiful analogy, Sadhvi ji. I would invite Mansi ji now to give you a vote of thanks with a sincere request from me that we will have you back soon and probably visit your ashram soon as well.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Over to you, Mansi.
As I mentioned earlier, I started meditating at the age of 15. And I just feel it's such a vast ocean of knowledge, and demystifying it in 1 hour is just not doing justice. So yes, Snigdha, hoping to have Sadhvi ji here. So there are so many things that are going on in my mind right now, but we're very short of time. So we're going to have to close the session now, but hoping to have you soon here. And it was, I think, one of the best sessions we've had. Fantastic session, so enlightening. And I think, I don't know, I just feel like shutting my eyes and sitting for some time. It was just fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sadhvi ji, for your time.
Of course. So much love to you all. Or jaldi sabhi rishikesh aaja.
Ekdam. Thank you very much.